with Laney introducing Nishi.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Laney. So I'm here to introduce Nishi, who did a great project this summer. When we first met up, she was talking about how she wants to really be able to help people and to focus her work on social justice and making sure that people have access to information and what's going on with access to things like water quality and other things around the environment. So that's the focus of her project. She worked really hard. We also, Zoe, by the way, spent a lot of time debugging. That is also, just for context, totally normal. We all do that. And we did a lot of debugging. She worked on in Python, worked with a lot of data science and with a lot of geo-visual information. And she did a great job, as you're about to see.
Okay, so hello, I'm Nishi. I'm a rising 11th grader at the Edison Academy Magnet School in New Jersey. Next slide, please. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. There it is. So my mentor was Laney, and she's a CS professor at Northeastern University. She really enjoys computer science outreach and focuses on creating a more inclusive space in tech, which is super awesome. She's from and currently lives in Boston, but she's traveled and lived all over the US. And she really enjoys running, paddleboarding, and watching baseball. She has two dogs, Grizz and Carol, who are both cattle dog mixes. So my project is Jersey Justice, and it's essentially a virtualization tool which allows the user to see various environmental issues going on in New Jersey and how that affects different counties. So New Jersey, especially in the last couple of years, has been a big environmental issue. They've been creating a lot of new power plants near me, and overall, there's a lot of efforts going on right now to create reform and to bring out legislation to impact these areas. But at the same time, a lot of tools right now that allow you to see these areas that really need it don't mention the impact of poverty and disproportion on these areas. So that's what I wanted to do. In addition, a lot of these tools are really confusing because there's just so much information and it's very hard to understand. So I wanted to make more of a user-friendly version to that. Next slide, please. So currently I'm working on the data representation portion using Python and the libraries Pandas and GeoPandas, as well as the Google Colab platform. And I've been learning how to work through these libraries with online tutorials and a lot of guidance from Laney. So far I found data sets. I created a map of NJ through various GeoJSON files. And I also cleaned up my data, which was surprisingly a longer portion of my project than I thought. So currently I have two different data sets that I used. One is about groundwater information, so like the pH, the depth, and all that stuff, as well as the poverty data for each county. And I'm currently working on merging together those two pieces of data in order to classify each county into a different color based on what that data shows me. Next slide, please. So, in terms of my magical experience, I had a blast learning from my mentor and everything that she does. I think it was really awesome to hear from her because it shows that you don't need a traditional background to break into tech. You know, as long as you have an interest and a passion, you can do whatever you want to do. And it was really inspiring to hear that. Of course, I learned how to use these awesome libraries, which I don't think I would have had the confidence to even start doing without her. And definitely seeing the strengths and weaknesses of Python. So, you know, Python is great for all this data cleaning stuff, but when it came to actually showing that in a better way, like adding labels and things, that's something that I really wanted to do at the beginning, but wasn't able to. And I did face a lot of challenges during this time. Firstly, finding data sets. That was surprisingly more challenging than I thought. I spent a good couple of hours just looking for one that was in the right format and that I could view. In addition, working with unfamiliar functions, especially when I wasn't too sure what the result would be, because you know I could debug it, but then is this what it's supposed to look like? And that was definitely something that I had to learn how to deal with. Next slide, please. So this is my demo. So firstly, this is some of the data cleaning stuff that I did. So the groundwater data set was really huge, and I had a lot of data for each county. So that meant that I had to create my own, like, I guess, smaller summary of it. So I created my own data frame and put that into an CSV, which is essentially like an Excel file. So you can see these are all the different categories. This right here is one of the counties that I looked at, which is Bergen County. So we had to do a lot of cleaning and messing around with it. And this is actually the output for that county at the bottom here. So it looks like a whole lot of nothing, but it is very useful information, such as the average water temperature, air, conductance, things like that. And then I did this for a bunch of other counties. So you can see Essex, Gloucester, and then this is the actual virtualization port of it. So this is the JSON file, firstly, that I had to learn how to plot. A lot of import statements here. So this is what the map looks like just by itself. And then if you color it by counties, and something that's really cool is like looking at individual counties. And then this is the poverty data that I worked with. So of course, there's a lot of just like formatting at the beginning, but then I tried to merge together two versions of it. So the first one was based on how counties fell short of their budget. So that creating like a separate column and determining as either red or green based on how they did. And then the other one that I did was the total number of food insecure people in the county. And I think that's also really important why you need to combine these measures, because neither of these measures by themselves would give you an accurate representation of what was going on. So this is what the data frame looks like. You can see the color column where it has the red and green to show that, yeah, we are doing something with the data. So this was a function that I used to actually overlay the two data sets together. And then this is the first one. So this is the number of food insecure people if you just plot it by itself. So red are all the ones that are over 10,000 people. And then this is the one about counties that were falling short of the average of their budget. So you have these two data sets, and then combining them to show another virtualization is coming up right here. So this is pretty cool, but something that I did struggle with is that it's kind of difficult to understand what these colors mean just because it doesn't create a scale for you. So something I want to do in the future is in my overlay function, add some kind of like color mechanism to make sure that you know specifically like which color is where and creating a spectrum. Next slide, please. Okay, so in the future, I want to add more layers and allow the user to choose which ones they want to see. I really did struggle with debugging and the overlay function especially. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to add as many layers as I wanted to or fully get into the user experience, but that's definitely something I want to do in the future. In addition, I want to integrate it into a website so that more people can use it and also make the map more understandable. Right now, there aren't too many labels or anything like that. So that's definitely something that I want to work on. And lastly, making the tool town specific rather than county specific. Unfortunately, when it came down to data sets, the only thing I could find was something that was county specific. When it came down to towns, it just got murkier and more difficult to actually find relevant data. So, spending some time and trying to make it a little bit more specific to focus efforts easier. Next slide, please. So thank you so much, especially to Lean, Ira, Laney, and everyone else who showed up and showed out to give all of us mentee support. Does anyone have any questions?
Awesome presentation, Nishi. Yeah, we'll take one question from the audience.
Namrata has a hand up.
Oh, yes.
Great job, Nishi. I have one question. You have for pH and poverty. Did you also check for the salt concentration, or you plan to add that one?
So I think, unfortunately, the data set that I used, I don't think that had salt concentration in it. I think the furthest it went in terms of concentration is that it does include dissolved oxygen. But I'll definitely look into finding a data set that maybe has that information for other layers in the future.
Great work.
I
Yes,
have a,
awesome.
sorry, can I just quickly say something? This is great work. Thank you so much, Nishi and Laney. I wanted to, so I know when this is more consumable for the general public, like a website, I hope that you will use this information to either reach out to your local government or to your politicians so that they understand the impact of the changes that they are approving for the state of New Jersey.
Definitely.